Hello and welcome to this video on static versus instance method in Java. In this video, we'll be seeing about what is static methods, what is instance methods, the difference between them, and some coding examples to understand them better. So let us dive into the coding part. Static methods in Java. Usually the methods of a class are independent on the object of the class, but there will be times when we want to define a method inside a class that can work independently. That is, they are independent of the objects of the class. In Java, it is possible to create a method inside a class that can be used by itself without reference to an instance of the class. This type of method is known as static method. To create such a method, we have to precede its declaration with the keyword static. When a member is declared static, our program can access it before any class objects are created. That is, without reference to any object. The most common example of a static member is the main method. The main method is declared static because it must be called before an object exists. So some of the restrictions of static method is that they can only call other static methods inside them. They must be only access static data. And last, they cannot refer to this or super in any way. A note is that the keyword super is used in inheritance, and this is used to refer to instance of the current class. Coming to the coding example, I have a class called test main and it has its public static void main. So I'm gonna declare a class instance demo, and I'm gonna open the class. In my class, I'm gonna declare a static int a and assign the value 30. And then I'm gonna assign the value int b equal to 1199. So our b is the instance variable. Now I want to create an instance method void call me. I'm gonna print the value of b. And in my main instance demo id, instance demo id is equal to new of instance demo. And with this, I'm going to call the id.callMe function. And at last, I'll try to print the value of a. So let us look at what we have done in this program. In our test main, we have a main function, and in my main function, I have declared a new variable. Our instance method has to be called using this particular id, but our a, which is nothing but a static variable, need not be called using this a, because our static value is common for all the instances of this class instance demo. So any declaration happens, the value of a is going to be common for all these classes. So this is the static variable that can be accessed with the class name. So when we try to run the program, our a and b values would be printed. As you can see, our a and b values are printed. Now when I make this function static, I'll be able to print the value of a now, because when a method is made static, the values that are printed inside should also be static. Now when I try to run this code, let's see what happens. The value of a is printed using our method. The static methods get memory in the static section of the heap area. The next method is instance method in Java. Although it is perfectly fine to define a class with only data members, it rarely happens. Most of the time, we use methods to access the instance variable of the class. Methods allow the class to hide the specific layout of internal data structures behind method abstraction. In addition to defining methods that provide access to data, we can also define methods used internally by the class itself. An instance method is one such type of method. The instance method belongs to instance of a class, not to the class itself. Let's understand the instance method with help of the examples. Now in the following example, we'll be using the call me instance method, and it is being called with the object of the class. So we'll make some minute changes in the values. One such changes, remove the static for my method, void call me, and we'll be printing the value of b here. And then in our test main, we'll have our public static void, and we'll be having our instance variable id call me. So to call me function, we need to initialize our id to access this value of call me. So when I try to run this program, this call me function prints the value of b. So as I said before, if I make my method static, I'll be using instance demo.callme, and since I have now declared it as static, by default it becomes an instance method. So if it becomes an instance method, I have to initialize a new class with a variable name, and that variable name dot the method has to be called. So this is one of the main differences between static methods and instance methods. So let us look at what are the differences between static and instance method. Static methods can be called without the object of the class. Instance method requires an object of the class. The next difference is that static methods are associated with the class and instance methods are associated with the objects. Static methods can only access static attributes of the class. As we saw in the example below, if I made my call me function static, I can only access my static variable a here and not my b. Instance methods can access all the attributes of the class. A static method is declared with the keyword static. An instance method does not require any keyword. By default, it is considered as instance method. The last difference is that the static method will exist as a single copy of the class, and the instance method exists as a multiple copies depending on the number of instances of the class. So what do I mean by that? My integer a13 is common for all the initialization of my instance demo class. So what do I mean by initialization? If I create a new instance id2, for id2 the value of a is going to remain 13, and if I change the value of 13 in a or any one of my class members, the whole value changes. That's why we use instance demo.a to access the values here. So this is a difference. In this video, we saw what is static method, we saw what is instance method, we saw what are the differences between them, and some coding examples to understand them better. Hope this video was helpful. See you in the next video. Thank you.